tana dere na tada re ta dre da.
Namaste. Buonasera. Good evening. So, well, we come from India, and Shiv Kumar, Pandit Shiv Kumar, comes from Goa, and then he studied Indian classical music in Bombay, in west of India. We would like to share with you some news about, some informations about Indian music. In India, we have different kinds of forms of music. We have Indian folk music, we have Indian devotional music, we have Indian film music, which is a very popular form of music which is heard a lot. It's like our pop music. And then we have a very specific category which is called Indian classical music. So Indian classical music has two different systems. One is the South Indian classical music, which is called the Carnatic classical music, and then we have the North Indian, which Pandit Shiv Kumar was, he studied in this style of music, that is the North Indian classical music, which is called the Hindustani classical music. So also the instruments that we use in the North Indian classical music, they are very specific to the North Indian tradition. Like, I mean, Tabla, for example, it's one of the most popular Indian classical drums that we use.
Tadare tadre dare tane dere tana de re na tada re ta dre da tana de re na tada re ta dre da tana de re na tada re ta dre da tana de re na sani re sani da dani da maga ma dani sani da dani da maga ma dani sa tana de re na
क्या बात है
ta da re ta dre da tana de re na
धिन दा दा धिन दा ना धिन ना ना त्रिगड़ दा धिन धगड़ धा धिन दा धिन धगड़ 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 धा
sani re sani sa dani da maga ma dani sa dani da maga ma dani sani da maga re sa tana de re na
धिन दा धगड़ 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 धगड़
tana de re na tana de re na tada re ta dre da tana de re na tana de re na tana de re na
क्या बात है And if you would like to say something on the concept of raga.
Yeah, concept of raga starts from it's actually human expression. Whatever he feels, yeah, whatever he emotionally blocked, he tries to express.
Well, raga, as Shiv Kumar says, is the basis of all Indian classical music. Raga, the whole Indian classical music is based on the concept of raga. Raga is a expression of one of the 9 sentiments of the human being.
Yes.
No?
Yes, right. We have several expressions till 9 rasas. We say 9 rasas, as 9 expressions, and we are very nicely capable to express this all 9 sentiments in different form of melodic structure.
So each raga, this concept of raga is very important in Indian classical music. So each raga expresses a very specific sentiment of the human being. The origin of Indian music goes back to the Vedic times, which is around 2000 years before Christ. So that's when the Indian music took birth. At that time, Indian music was just a ritual music. It was the recitations of the ancient spiritual hymns, which are all in Sanskrit language, the ancient Indian language. So the whole of Indian music was just ritual music. As in the West, you have the Gregorian chants. You know, the Western classical music takes birth from the Gregorian chants, which was in the 8th or 9th century, 10th century. So our Indian classical music takes birth from the chanting of the Vedic hymns in Sanskrit, which goes back to 2000 years before Christ. No?
Yes, right. We are strong part of this. I told in brief also Sa Re Ga Ma Pa Da Ni Sa.
So Sa Re Ga Ma Pa Da Ni Sa are the 7 notes
yeah,
of Indian classical music. Yeah. As you have Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Si, Do, yeah, we have Sa, Re, Ga, Ma, Pa, Dha, Ni, Sa. If you can, Maestro, show us the scale of the Indian.
Yes. Sa, Re, Ga, Ma, Pa, Dha, Ni, Sa, Sa, Ni, Dha, Pa, Ma, Ga, Re, Sa. These are basic notes, but like Occidental, we are not having very much corners. Like we are always in circle.
So yeah, what he wants to say is practically there is a lot of link between the 2 notes. So there's we use a term called meaned.
Yes.
Meaned is the slurring of note from one note to the other. So we use also the microtones apart from the semitone, we have also the microtones, 1/4 of the tone. So that is very typical of all Oriental forms of music, starting from Iran, Afghanistan, China, India. All of these have a lot of usage of the microtones.
Yes. Same way raga forms from pure notes to some notes we are taking bemol notes, and some DS notes also we are using.
Why don't you present to us one raga, for example?
Okay.
Just choose one raga,
Yeah.
and give the the scale.
Yes, please. This raga name is Bhairav. Raga Bhairav is usually we sang in early morning.
So why he says we sing this raga early in the morning? Because every raga has its own timing of execution. We cannot sing a raga which belongs to the evening hours and sing it in the morning. That is not possible, because every raga expresses a sentiment which is connected with the cycle of the day,
cycle, yes.
the time cycle.
Yes.
So the raga he is choosing is called Bhairav. It is an early morning raga which expresses the sentiment of peace, serenity, and it is called Shanti Rasa.
Yes. Sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa ni dha pa ma ga re sa. This scale of Raga Bhairav. We can see little one composition also, just note composition.
Sure.
Okay?
So what we are doing is we are using this scale, and he will compose a melody using these notes, these specific notes,
Yes.
and give you an example. Yeah.
Yes. And this composition is based in tinta.
Okay, so this
16 bits.
composition that he's improvising right now, it is based on a rhythmic cycle of 16 beats, which is called Tin Tal, and it is the rhythms are also sung, so it's called Tin Tal, and it is sung in this way: Dha din din da dha din din da na tin tin na tit din din da sam.
Yes. So sa ga ma da da pa ga ma re sa ga ma da da pa ga ma re sa ga ma da da pa.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, some, 2, 3, 4, ba.
Ga ma re sa ga ma da da pa ga ma re sa da ni sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa ni da pa ma dha ni sa re ga ma pa dha ni sa ni da pa ma ga ma dha da pa ga ma re sa.
Beautiful. So in this example, as you can see, how he sings the notes and goes between the notes and passes through all the minor small fractions of notes, which are the microtones.
Yes.
So this is typical of Indian music, that you don't sing just one note and maybe a semitone and go to the other note. It's just a slurring which goes from one note to the other, which is very important. And this is called mind. As you see, how is Indian music structured? What happens when a musician performs Indian classical music? What happens? So he proposes, it's a little bit similar to the system of jazz. You know, there's
Yes.
lot of improvisation. Indian music allows you and
90%,
promotes.
yeah, 90% improve.
Yeah, a lot of importance is given to improvisation. So what happens is, he proposes to me a theme, a note, and I have 2 cycles or maybe 3 cycles just to understand what is the structure of the melody, and then I give him the rhythmic cycle that he proposes to me.
Yes.
So what happens is, somebody, either him or me, we have to maintain the rhythmic cycle with which we started. So in this case, in Rag Bhairav, he proposed to me a rhythmic cycle of a slow beat rhythm called Tintal. So I immediately understand, okay, this is a 16-beat cycle and I have to maintain it. Dha, din, din, da, da, din. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 1, 2. So the moment he shows me the tune, I understand, okay, that note is associated to number 9, or the other note is associated to number 13. So these small things happen in the first fraction of the new raga which is about to be presented. So the moment we contact each other, it's like 2 computers when they dialogue. In the initial stage, they just need a little time to recognize each other, no?
Yes.
The same way, we understand, okay, what is the new rag proposed, what is the rhythm proposed. So once we have understood this, then he goes for a small promenade, for a small stroll and improvises, but it's my duty to maintain the time cycle. So I just so he knows in the time cycle where he is, and I have to be very simple and clear there, so that he improvises and then he has to come back to the first beat of the time cycle.
Yes.
And then the moment I understand that he has finished his improvisation, he resumes, he takes up again the main theme. How do you call that? The
Mukhda.
Mukhda. In Hindi we call it mukhda, but in refrain, the refrain.
Yeah.
So he takes up the refrain again, and then I do my improvisation. So there is always this exchange of improvisation, like it happens also in jazz, you know. So a lot of improvisation takes place, but we have to maintain just a few basic rules of Indian classical music. For example, I met the maestro and his student Ludmila just yesterday at the railway station in Termini station, because I mean we got to know each other only through internet. So I mean we exchanged several links of our music, and then we started conversing on the internet, on email, and then we decided, okay, we must meet and perform together. So finally we met yesterday in Stazione Termini in Roma, and we immediately went for a concert in Perugia, and then we performed together without knowing each other, right on the stage, without knowing each other. Yes. So that is the beauty of Indian music. We never read any music. Indian music is all
we
oral.
Don't believe even to read.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And our music, maybe we are not able to read even if it is written by me. She is my student now, but she will not able to read it, because how to read? It's very complex. Let's see. Sa re ga, sa re ga. So I will write what? Sa re ga. But how to read this?
Yeah.
Sa re ga pa dha pa ga re ga.
Exactly.
Sa dha dha pa ga pa ga re sa.
Exactly.
This type of things, so we can't read even.
We can't write it. We can't write
maybe
it.
we can't write, we can't read.
Exactly. So what he says is, he just gave you an example. If he wanted to teach this to Ludmila, Ludmila comes from Russia, so it's a totally different culture. So even if he writes down these notes, sa, re, ma, pa.
Any notes.
It won't convey the musicality of the notes that how he is using it. So all the Indian music is transferred to a student orally,
Yes.
by a human contact,
Yes.
not by a book.
Yes.
A book remains too external for our aesthetics.
But as I'm just sharing something. As I'm teaching in Paris, I'm working only with mostly Europeans.
Yeah.
Europeans means whole Europe. Yeah, she is from Russia also. Other Moroccans are there. Whole globe maybe. And I'm understanding how to teach them, how to make dialogue, because this book doesn't work for them, and my language doesn't work. Only music works. So we are just preparing first base, how to get noticed
So
by
since how
notes.
long do you have this school, Shivkumar?
Yeah, Shiv Kumar. 3 years. From last 3 years I'm in Paris teaching. I'm having good students, and they are very wise. They are very wise in sharp in mind. They are really very good, having good sense also. But for basic things, we are preparing like this. Some exercises just to have an example. Sa re sa ga re ga sa re ni sa. Chalo. Sa re sa ga re ga sa re ni sa. Sa ma ga ma re ma re ga sa ga re ni sa.
These are the few exercises.
These are the few exercises just
Shiv
to
Kumar
create
gives
base, yes.
to his students to train them for the vocal music of Indian classical music.
Yeah.
All Indian classical music is based on the vocal music. Vocal music is the basis of all, because we have lots of instruments, like we have sitar, we have sarod, we have the flute, the bansuri, we have the shanai, the oboe. So we have lots of beautiful instruments, the santoor, the 100-string instrument. But all of these instruments in Indian classical music, they all show the beauty and the plasticity of the voice, of the human voice, which is at the base of all Indian classical music.
But actually in this system, we are actually preparing mind. It's just really for us, it's mind game. Voice is there always, but mind is not stable. So how to prepare mind? Like this exercise, which can make confusion, which can resolve confusion, which can make you concentrate in mind, which can focus your mind. These all abilities are naturally developed and naturally transformed by this just processes system.
Okay.
It's just musical treatment. It's maybe therapy. We can use as therapy.
Very
we can
interesting.
use as treatment to develop more focused mind. It's like I'm always talking like this. We are preparing human being towards iPhone. So iPhone can receive more things, but my phone, which is Nokia, it can't receive more. So I am maybe with this exercise, yeah, whatever I am giving them, they are becoming iPhone. And if you are becoming iPhone, so every year you are upgrading iPhone 1 till 5 you are becoming. 5 means what? You can receive now. You can receive instant. You can receive fast. iPhone 5 means this much fast. And this way we are training them. And they are capable to whatever I am saying. Sa, This is very difficult. But how they will receive this? To build first mind. Our concept is just to maintain mind.
This is a very interesting concept. How is Indian music taught? In India, we have a very interesting system of teaching music and teaching dance, teaching Indian theatre, teaching Indian painting. All the art forms are taught on the basis of one system, which is called the Guru-shishya parampara, which is a very important concept. And Guru-shishya parampara is a very ancient form of teaching. where the student who aspires to learn Indian classical music goes to the house of the maestro, of the guru, and lives with him practically. And the maestro, the Guruji, doesn't only teach the techniques of Indian classical music, of Indian rhythms, very complex Indian rhythms. The Guruji explains to him how music is connected to life and how each sentiment should be expressed with a perfect execution.
Yeah.
So what happens? There are some ragas which belong to the timing of early morning. If you go to a conservatory, the doors of the conservatory is blocked, it's closed at 5 in the morning. So what happens is the Guruji wakes you up at 5 in the morning and makes you live the beauty of that moment.
Yes.
So all these small details which are very connected to life, to the human being, as he was saying, that his teaching is not limited only to the technique of instrument or the vocal chords, but it goes also to the training of the human mind, the concentration, and also the breathing exercises which allows you to execute the raga in a more perfect form. So this system of education, teaching, is Guru-shishya parampara. Unfortunately, this in India is disappearing now because
a little bit, yes.
Yeah.
But even I learned this
Exactly, I as well, I learned from my Guruji.
Same system.
Yeah, but it is now the new generation, they go to the schools and slowly it is a phenomenon, unfortunately, which is disappearing with the globalization and with the commercialization of music. One last thing which I would like to say before we go on to another subject is, despite the huge invasion of Indian market with Western television, with Western industries, with Western styles of living, Indian classical music, which is so ancient, is still very strong and still very self-asserted, and it remains untouched. It remains remains in a very pure form. It is not disturbed by any. We still have our instruments, we still use our notes, we still use our scales of music, and of which we are very proud.
Yes, we are proud also, and I am very happy also to be part of this great, rich culture. And the wonderful thing, as I am working in Europe now, I am really wondering how it is possible. I don't know connection between India, Europe, human mind. I believe this music is for human being. It's not for Europe, it's not for India, it's not only Indian music we bring
this
here.
This is the universal aspect.
This universal aspect for human Indian mind, music. Human body also. I have a lot of students in Paris and in France. I am teaching online also. And I am seeing difference in 6 months. They are transforming completely in body system, in mind system. This also happens. How this happens is not because of Shiv Kumar, it's not because of India only. Because of this system is very great to transform you completely, even if you wish. If you need to be just wish, I wish, I am happy to receive this. You must be receiver, and you can be transferred in 6 months, 7 months, 1 year. It's very possible with this system. This is practical. And even this girl, Ludmila, she is learning with me just 2 years. And now she is singing with me. It's really incredible also. Even in India, we are having same system, same rapport. But it's wonderful to see here somebody, a lot of IO students, they are singing with me. Maybe simple bhajans, a simple thing, but it's incredible. Because they are European, they are some Russian, they are some Moroccans, they have different ideas of culture even, they have different ideas of living even, they are suffering something else, as we Indian, we are suffering something else, but besides this, they are very receptive, they are very nice to receive, and their sharpness glows like. This also I am experiencing it, actually. मातेश्वरी परमेश्वरी मातेश्वरी परमेश्वरी मातेश्वरी परमेश्वरी मातेश्वरी परमेश्वरी सुन ले अरज अब मोरी मातेश्वरी परमेश्वरी माते
So, what I was wanting to tell you is just to present my instruments which are very intimate to myself. These are my two children. The left hand, it's a she, it's a lady with a nice curves, and it is feminine, and this has a masculine energy. This is called Baya and this is called Daya. So the Baya takes care of all the richness of the low bass sounds, which I create with this part of the fingers striking here, but I manipulate the tonal quality by my palm, by the pressure of the palm. So, and that creates a lot of richness of bass sounds, which I can control almost like a bass guitar. And so it's like this. So this really gives a lot of richness. It's one of the, let's say, most rich percussion instrument in the world. And the right hand gives you the acute tones. And this also is very sophisticated because you can even tune it to the same precision as you tune a violin. So I strike the strings along the circle, and that increases or decreases the pressure on the skin, and that allows me to tune it to a very precise note on the tuner. So tabla is an instrument which is very typical to India. And another very interesting characteristic of tabla is that every sound that I make has a name, and which creates a sort of alphabet, creates a sort of rhythmic language. It's called the bol. No, the bol.
Padan is. Padan.
Padan. Yeah. So there are, in the South India it's called solokuttu, which is the vocal rhythms. So all that I play, like for example, this is ta, this is thun, this is tin, this is ge, this is kat, te, re, dha, din, and so on. We have many alphabets. We have around 15 or 16 different sounds, which sort of creates a rhythmic language, which is quite interesting. For example, I say ta ta thunna, kitita ke thunna, dhagate dhegate ta, tatta trigdin, dhagate dhegate takata ke tatta ke jun ta dhegate ta ke ke ta taka dhei da dhei ke taka dhei ke taka dhagate 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 da da dhagate 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 da da dhagate dhagate da da da. So this is a bowl, and we use these bowls a lot for Indian classical dance, where we have a dialogue with the dance, with her body movements, and with my precise phrases of rhythms. So this is tabla, and I don't know if I've introduced myself. I'm Rashmi Bhatt. I grew up in the south of India, but I'm originally from the west of India, and then I came to Italy, and I was in Florence, in Perugia, and now I live in Rome. And ever since I have come to Italy, to Europe, I have started jamming up a lot with different musicians from different corners of the world, which is one of the most beautiful things that Europe could have ever given to me. That is this meeting with other forms of traditions of music which are as ancient as Indian classical music is.
In Paris also we are experiencing.
Exactly. Paris of course is the hub, it's the main center for all contamination. So lucky you. But even in Rome I have wonderful encounters with musicians from Kurdistan, from Afghanistan. I have a group of Afghanistan, India and Iran in Vienna, and with a very good singer from Iran and a very good robab player from Afghanistan. So these sort of crossroads happened to me in myself since about 10 years. And this is typical of, this has now become almost 50% of my concerts is full of contamination, influences, the wish to know other forms of cultures, which is very strong in me, and therefore this makes me really a citizen of the world. I come from India, but my mind, my heart is now belongs to really to the world, to the concept of world citizen.
Same expression I am also feeling. I am coming from India, I am living in Europe, I am living in France, but I never feel like it's just Indian music. It becomes universal music for anybody. Anybody can learn easily. Anybody can grasp easily. Anybody can receive easily.
Sure.
Because even when I was in India, I was thinking these melodies are existing only in this Indian region. But now I'm in Paris and I am creating lot of compositions, very nice compositions just are happening. And composition are just, we receive something, we are becoming maybe iPhone and we are receiving. So in Paris also I am receiving something which is very pure Indian.
Yeah.
And I am teaching this music also towards Europeans and they are receiving very fast, they are growing very fast. This is very wonderful. And all I am capable to do this only because of this universal subject music. It's just universal connection. We are just spreading love through our Indian basic music.
Sure.
This much.
What would you say if we finish our encounter with Indian music with the last composition?
Why not?
Not a classical piece, but a semi-classical piece.
Semi-classical like bhajan, kirtan.
Like bhajan, yeah.
Bhajan, kirtan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in India, as we have explained before, we also have the devotional music, which are called the bhajans, the kirtans, the artis. So there are different genres of devotional music. So we just give you one last example of Indian devotional music, and then we say bye-bye to you.
Yeah. Okay. And thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, 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 Shri Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, 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 Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram. Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai
जय राम, श्री राम जय राम, जय 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 जय राम, श्री राम। श्री राम जय राम, 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 जय 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 जय राम। Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.